Hey folks, welcome to the next episode of The Main Scoop. I'm Greg Lotko. I'm with my co-host here, Daniel Newman.
How's it going?
Awesome. Delighted to be here with you again.
Yeah, you're not getting the high foot this time.
Oh, well, I guess I'll deal. Okay. I'll do to myself. So we've got an interesting topic like we always do on these. Today we're going to be talking about the banking industry, which has gone through a great evolution, right? I mean, if you think about how it started with people keeping money or gold or whatever under their mattress to, hey, banks and financial institutions come along. They're a place to kind of keep your money safe, but they really didn't give you a return at first to, wow, we'll hold your money and we'll maybe give you more back if you let us lend it out to others, to the advent of compute technology coming in and e-commerce. And now there's this kind of next evolution of talking about the democratization of access to these financial services.
Yeah, we got a pretty significant transformation going on, Greg. You have, crypto and stable coins, and you have a lot of, regulate, deregulate in terms of how banks work. We've got a lot of these sort of fintech platforms now that have sort of revolutionized the way, millennials and Gen Zs are starting to think about it. So we had, of course, the traditional banks, big, large footprints, oftentimes had large retail presences. That was kind of one way that banking was done. And then you had this kind of all digital experience. And then you had, cash and fiat. And now you have a whole generation coming up on this idea of crypto. And now they're trying to figure out currency.
Oh, I was going to say, I prefer Porsches.
Yeah, no.
Corvettes.
Yeah. This show, we had to go there.
Okay.
But it is kind of really going through this interesting inflection right now, how payments are made, how money is transferred, how investments are made. We've seen democratization of investments with things like Robinhood that have, here in the US have changed. Everybody's an investor now. You've seen things like Coinbase, everybody's in crypto now. You've seen things like Square and Stripe that have made payments accessible. But behind all this is still there's a huge industry that is the financial industry and banking industry. And these companies are also doing a lot of innovating, a lot of disrupting, a lot of changing what they do in order to come to where some of these neo companies are, and also to take advantage of all that great infrastructure. And by the way, all that regulatory support that they already have in place.
It's access to new technologies and new financial institutions, but it's also access to a new set of the population to have access to these things. So
Absolutely.
So let's bring some of these things together, and I'm going to slip another car thing in here because our next guest, I think his middle name might be Porsche, but he is an expert in the banking space. So welcome. We're going to bring in Jorge Carrera. Get the reference there, Porsche Carrera. And you're a leader at BCP, and I know you've done a lot to influence and get involved with the democratization of banking for the broader population of Peru. Could you introduce yourself to the audience and kind of start us down the path of what you think about that technology?
Oh, he does though. You're a chef.
Yeah, really?
So don't even let him introduce himself.
No, I just wanted to hear about that before he goes too far into the democracy.
How about we introduce and then you get into the chef and then we'll democratize.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very glad of being here with you. And Jorge Carrera, I'm a technical leader of Mainframe infrastructure at BCP, the biggest bank of Peru, which has the more than 30% of the market share, financial share, yes. And also the group is bigger amount. As a chef, you told me, and a mainframer also. I mix
He
all
was just as excited about being a chef as a mainframer.
Yes.
So tell us about the chef part.
Yes.
Is that a recent thing you got into, or you've been a chef your whole life?
I love cooking since when I was a child. Looking my mother cooking all the delicious dishes she used to prepare.
I love eating.
Yes, she left me a written hand book with all her recipes.
Oh wow!
And I started trying to cook all those recipes, and now I can do everything. Not more her place, also all the Peruvian place and other countries.
So have you added and expanded the repertoire? Like when you hand down to the next generation, are there more recipes?
I would like to give that kind of inheritance to my daughter. I have one daughter and other people from my country.
Awesome.
Not also.
All right. So now
Okay.
that we're well fed,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about sort of how you're thinking. I mean, 50%'s very impressive that you have that much of the market, but in a market,
I think it was 30%.
do you say 30?
30% of as whole bank.
3-0.
3-0. But
Still very impressive.
Very impressive.
And in Peru, just curious, what percentage of the population is banked? Do you know?
it's a very interesting point. People before pandemia were very poor banking. People don't used to use financial products given offered by the banks. So after pandemias, BCP forced his position in the market. Not only the 30% I just told you, with applications like Yape. Yape is our super app called Yape. Do you know why Yape? Yape is Peruvian slang. Ya pues, come on,
Yeah.
come on, pay me. Ya pues, págame.
But
In
this is
Spanish.
used across financial
Yes.
institution. This is an open platform. correct?
Yes,
Okay.
really. And Yape, Yaperos, Yape users has more than 50% of our population. I mean, 70 million people.
Wow.
Our population is close to 31, 32, and Yaperos are for everyone, almost everyone. Not only people who works, people like students, people like the street vendor could manage their financial transactions.
But in order
that
to
kind.
in order to use that platform, the actual money, the currency behind it, can't be in your mattress or your
Yes, of
dresser
course.
drawer. It's got to be held somewhere, right?
Yes.
So it's an open platform, but it has access to all these different financial institutions.
Yes, but if people doesn't want to have an account, they can manage without account, only with his ID, with their ID and their phone number, and making transaction with them.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So it sounds like this trend, right? It sounds a little bit, you mentioned the pandemic. It sounds like there's been some different drivers, but this open banking, you're seeing more collaboration. You're seeing sort of these super apps in the development here. What do you sort of see as the driving forces that is, you kind of mentioned a little bit about everybody being able to use a tool, manage financial transactions, but are you seeing like adoption scale and then of course adoption with banks? Because of course your point is a lot of these apps are not really banks, they're not really regulated, but they do a lot of things that make people feel like
Yes.
making, payments over, it could be over blockchain or payments. So, like what are you sort of seeing that's creating all this demand for BCP?
The first thing is the customer expectations, the customer needs. They need it to make transactions. The second one is technology. Technology has to support all that kind of expectation. And finally, regulations. We need to have a group of game rules in order to make it more orderly and in the correct way, according to the laws.
I imagine on that first point you said, needing to interact that way. I imagine there's some newer businesses or even some that have been around for a while that have said, okay, I'm no longer going to accept cash. I only want you to interact with me through Yape. Is that kind of what you're
Yes.
talking about? I mean, the reality is just we're filming in a hotel context. I was surprised. I went to dinner last night and I was told, hey, the hotel is cashless. I actually tried to pay my bill with cash. I know, old school. And they were like, no, it's cashless. You got to give me a credit card. So you see that happening in Peru,
Yes.
where they're saying, no, use this open platform or you can't conduct business with me.
Yeah, but in the other way, you can give a tip to a waiter with Yape, and you can pay the man who is watching your car at the street with Yape also, or buy ice cream for your daughter or for your boy with Yape also. It's all kind of transaction.
We've gone to digital, but then sometimes systems go down.
Yeah.
Sometimes transaction platforms don't work. Sometimes, so people, because my kids all the time, I don't know about you, but like they never have money. They never have money. They might have a credit card, they have their phones. But like, even if they like need to go to a gas station, like, well, there's no tap to pay here.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? You didn't bring the card? I don't have a card. But I was, I was just kind of wanted to, before we jump to the economy, because I think it's probably created growth. It's created a lot more consumer activity for sure. But on the technological part, where I was kind of trying to go at is like, when you set this up, we've become so reliant on Yape or, payments through, any sort of rails, on any digital payment experience. We've basically 100%, democratized our data, which is interesting. And two, we're 100% reliant on, the tech. So I guess this is why the mainframe must be so important, right? Because
Always
other clouds, other technology, not quite as reliable.
Yes, couldn't manage. We need a platform, a strong platform, a reliable platform like Mainframe that should be always available.
Yeah.
Because people demands the product, the transaction every day.
I mean, when you want that ice cream, you got to be able to get it.
At 2
You're
a.m.
not going to wait.
Well, but it is interesting nonetheless that this is an absolute prototype of a case, right? Of why the mainframe has remained so
That
resilient,
technology-
scalable, secure, because all the things that you need in a transaction. So even when you're using something that's a kind of a cool modern, it could be a cash app, it could be, transacting and taking dollars out of your Robinhood account, moving it to your bank, or the other way around to make investments. That stuff has to kind of happen on a mainframe, because most of the other technologies, like our clouds go down. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's been AWS, it's Microsoft, like anybody that's run a website or they've had some time, their hosting, their services have gone down. This really can't go down.
The reality is, you're driving cross country and your tank is empty and you need to get gas and you don't have any cash. That transaction better go through or you're just going to be standing there at the pump.
Yeah.
So
You're not getting where you're going.
you need it to always be on.
Yes.
So what about the Jorge, like in Peru? This is very interesting to me. Like, one of the things is, how has this open banking and democratization of banking impacted the economy? I know the economy in Peru is very different than, say, the economy here in the United States. Imagine you want to grow it, you want to create more wealth, you want people to, have access to more services. Is it making a difference? Are you seeing that?
It has a huge positive impact to our economy because a small business can be competitive as well as the big ones. So it's a kind of democratization. Also, I told you the guy who is sending offer services or products in the street also can make all the transactions without money. So all people are making more transactions, are making more money for them, more earns, and our currency is becoming stronger. That's more, sir. In the region, people from other countries are saving in our currency, in soles, more than dollars.
Interesting.
So I'm curious about that. So if I travel to Peru and I've got, I haven't been there. I've been to South America.
You should go.
Lima.
You should go. Yeah.
Although the cars, when I left the airport, I got to tell you a story. Like the cars drive so close together.
Yes.
Where I could have reached into the car, like there was like probably what we would consider 2 lanes of traffic, and there were 6 cars wide, and they were this like literally. I would reach in and like could knuck with the driver next to me.
Yeah.
Where the cars is what?
They're littler, mostly smaller cars.
Yes.
They don't have big trucks and SUVs.
The gas is expensive.
But I left the airport, and it was like I was like this because I was nervous.
So maybe I should be asking you my question then. So when you went to Peru, could you use your Amex, your MasterCard, your debit card with Yape?
I don't know about Yape.
Well, let's
But I used my credit cards there, and then I took some of the
let's ask the expert then. So if I go there with and there's a merchant on the street and they say I only have Yape and I have my credit card, would I be able to interact, or do I have to download a new app or something?
You can pay with every kind of
And they can process my
Yes.
credit card,
In-
and through the back end it'll go.
in the same POS.
Oh,
In the same POS,
like-
you can pay with your MasterCard, and also I want to pay with Yape, and they make your QR to pay.
okay.
Easy.
That does feel very open and democratized.
Yes.
Because I can travel and interact just like a Peruvian.
So we talked a little bit about mainframe and that's important. I think everyone here agrees. Show sort of survivability depends on that. But what are some of the other technologies that you see that are super critical to this continued democratization, open adoption?
Yeah, of course. For making apps like Yape available for people, we need also cloud on all the infrastructure to connect cloud
So
to
the
our
edge
core system.
connectivity.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And also we need to have a visibility, observability of all the road of the transaction
Right.
from point to point,
Right. Mobile
end to end,
mainframe.
end to end.
Mainframe.
Not only mainframe.
Right,
Yes,
but mobile all the way through the cloud, through maybe a distributed server in the mainframe and back out.
yes, sir.
Single observability across everything.
We need that.
Yeah.
Yes, and we, unfortunately, we have that kind of observability in order to know what is happening in each moment in real time, and know what is happening also, and about if an issue is happening, act very quickly
Yeah.
in order to fix it.
Yeah.
So to take this sort of to home, we've talked a lot about the tech, the democratization. It sounds like the economy is seeing some growth because of what you're doing at BCP and the industry as a whole. But this is going to transform the industry, right? Everything from tools that help people make better decisions, right? AI can do better than probably the average banker in helping someone understand the best investment or find the best rate or to decide which credit card. I mean, this has been actually done a long time with machine learning. But like, how do you see this industry changing in the next several years? I mean, everything seems to be happening so fast, Jorge. Like, what are some of the things you see ahead?
With AI, we have also a roadmap with AI supporting all our processes, but not only all with other processes. So we are converting our open banking to open finance, and then open economy, supported by platform with technology, with AI, and all the stuff as we are talking about.
So I'm curious, oftentimes people question openness, democratization. They believe that it could diminish differentiation. I know for our own business, opening up our tools and our capabilities and the APIs to it, it has been part of helping our business grow. I'm curious, you say you have 30% of the market now. Do you feel like Yape and opening up has helped BCP grow the business?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Not only grow our own business, grow all the country.
And you differentiate as
yes,
well.
Yes.
Very cool.
I think that's what we're seeing happen across tech is almost in all cases, open does end up being the enabler. Even though there's sometimes these closed architectures that come out first, maybe they work a little better because all the contributions haven't been put into place. But then over time you see, and I think AI is going to follow the same path. You've got the frontiers and you've got the open sources. And of course you see the economics tend to work a lot better with open as well.
They do.
So that ends up creating scale. Jorge, it was a really interesting conversation. I want to thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Sharing a little bit about what you're doing at BCP. And I want to thank you, everybody, for being part of this episode of The Main Scoop. It was a great conversation today. We saw open technologies, open platforms, and the future of democratization of technology in the banking industry is going to continue to propel economic growth. And of course, we reiterated that the mainframe sits underneath
It underpins
of all of these transactions that we all do every day. And by the way, when you want that card to work, or you want that bump to pay to work, or you want anything basically but cash to work, underneath it sits that mainframe technology. But stay with us, become a subscriber. We appreciate you being part of our community. See y'all later.
Pleasure having you.
Bye-bye.